What's up, Hornets? I'm Jaylen Ross with DESU-TV, and today I'm joined by Dr. Grouchy Greg Watkins, founder of allhiphop.com. Today, we're talking all about the third annual Hip Hop Cultural Summit happening Saturday, October 18th, this 2025, at the Delaware Art Museum, a celebration of hip hop's influence on race, culture, creativity, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Daryl DMC McDaniels of Run DMC will be in the building. So how are you feeling today, Doctor?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing very well.
Good. Thank you for having me down here. I appreciate it.
Of
DSU
course, I'm so
has
glad
always
you're
been
here.
a great supporter of everything we're doing, so I'm honored to be on the platform.
So I do have a couple of questions for you today. Is that okay?
Of course. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
perfect. So my first question to you is, what inspired the Delaware Art Museum to create the Hip Hop Cultural Summit, and how has it evolved over the past 3 years?
I'm on the board of the State Council for the Arts here in Delaware, so I get to see where nonprofit money goes and how it gets disseminated into the arts community. And one thing I noticed over the years was that there was no educational event centered around hip hop programming, a way to get students and younger people in the community in general interested in using hip hop as an art form or as a pathway into education. So year one, we celebrated hip hop's 50th anniversary, and we had a number of the founding fathers and mothers of hip hop culture at the event. Year two was about hip hop and its influence on activism, and we had Flavor Flav there, who, in addition to being a reality star, is the founder of Public Enemy, one of the most revolutionary hip hop groups of all time. And this year, we're focusing on hip hop and its impact on race in the United States and around the world. And we have Daryl DMC McDaniels from Run DMC, as you mentioned. And Run DMC is a groundbreaking group who took hip hop around the world when it was just emerging as a commercialized art form. And they represented it on the world's biggest stages. They were the first rappers to be on the cover of Rolling Stone, first rappers to get a lifetime endorsement deal, which they still have with Adidas. The first group to really cross over with a rock and roll song with Walk This Way with Aerosmith. So DMC is going to be talking about his journey as a black man taking hip hop around the world.
This all sounds super exciting, and you had my attention immediately when you said Flavor Flav, because my dad would go nuts. You did mention that a lot of people aren't really aware that hip hop could be a pathway into, gaining that education or that love for the arts. I just want to know, what was your gateway into going into hip hop like that?
My gateway was a few things. One, my parents had records around the house, so at a very young age, I started digging into their records, and I would read the labels and I would read the credits, and I would obviously listen to the music, but I was also interested in the music side of things. At the same time, in Philadelphia, there was a groundbreaking radio show on every Sunday from 12 to 4 called Street Beat, which was hosted by Lady B. Lady B is a legend in the radio and the hip hop community. So being exposed to all of these records were in our communities as soon as they were released. People were breakdancing to them, you flip them over and rap to the instrumentals, and hip hop just landed on everybody's neighborhood like a bomb. And before you knew it, everybody was dressing a certain way, everybody was rapping or breakdancing. We'd have cardboard and linoleum out in the street breakdancing. So that was my earliest exposure to it, and I knew then and there that this is what I wanted to do for a living.
That's exciting. I actually enjoyed listening to that. So with hip hop's influence on race and culture, I know that it connects to the imprinted Illustrating Race exhibition. How do you see hip hop and visual art coming together to tell powerful stories about identity and or social justice?
So all throughout the day, the museum is being taken over with images from the Norman Rockwell collection that tell the story of black and brown people's experience here in the United States and how we were portrayed in the media, going back to the Civil War all the way up till today. And this ties directly into what we are doing during the day with the hip hop and race panel. You know, hip hop in the media has been portrayed as a dangerous art form, an over-sexualized art form. Sometimes it's portrayed violently, even though they may reflect a reality, you know, from the artist. You know, hip hop is one of the only genres where you have to be real and authentic, or you're not accepted. You know, whereas in other genres of music, you're afforded creative license. In hip hop, it's not like that. And that gives the opportunity for people who want to portray our communities in a certain way or only in one light. With hip hop, it was actually formed to combat violence. It was formed to stop gang violence. It was formed to resolve conflict and do it in a way of, you know, an expressive way through art. And so that's what we're going to be drilling down on throughout the day, and letting really reconnecting the audience there to what hip hop culture really is and what it was originally started for.
I like how you said hip hop has to be real and authentic in order for you to actually understand it. Because I had an art teacher, loved Dr. Chambers. His favorite artist was Rakim, and I remember first listening to it and actually hearing it versus like hearing the early 2000s hip hop, and it was like, this isn't the same
Very
thing. This
different.
is completely different.
Very different.
I know me for sure. I definitely had a hip hop awakening when it came to him, but I don't think a lot of people my age now even have that or have the ability to have that. So I really appreciate that you're holding this event that can at least teach us something. All right. So my next question for you is: hip hop has always been a voice for the unheard. How does the summit use art, music, and conversation to inspire change and civic engagement in Delaware communities?
So it's a good question. You know, we have artwork, first of all, that comes in from all parts of the community throughout the day. Artwork meaning visual artwork. People from the prisons have their artwork that they've submitted. Local artists, winners of the Delaware Division of the Arts who have received grants, all of that is being expressed. And the images express a variety of thoughts from the artists from the Delaware community, whether it's racial injustice, police brutality, racism. All of those are expressed, and they're expressed visually throughout the day. Same thing with the poetry and specifically the rap battle. You know, the rap battle is interesting because it's not a typical rap battle. The MCs have to pull a topic out of the hat, and the topic is about something relating to social justice. So they're not really battling each other as much as they have to be up on their knowledge of current events, and what they pick out of the hat, they have to freestyle about.
That's so fascinating. I actually really enjoy that. Really quickly though, I do have a question to ask.
All right.
How in tune would you say that you are with hip hop?
I think I'm pretty in tune with it, you know. I mean, I can tell you from my job with all hip hop, I'm 100% in tune to the news, right? Anything that's happening, I can tell you about right up to right this moment. From a music standpoint, you know, I've got things that I like that may not be mainstream, and then I've got some mainstream stuff that I like. So, you know, I'm 100% in tune with the culture. From the music side of things, I got to try to keep up, you know.
That's so real.
Y'all be listening to stuff that sometimes I listen to and I'm like, this doesn't register.
You sound like my dad. You sound like my dad. I do know the trends they tend to switch up really quickly, but I definitely think that we all still need to remember the oldies and the goodies because the new stuff just can't relate. It can't. I know.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm stuck in no oldies but goodies. I'm just saying that, you know, not everything registers, you know.
So unfortunately, those are all the questions I have for you today, but I thank you so much for joining us today and being able to tell us all about this amazing event and Make sure to mark your guys' calendars because for the 3rd annual Hip Hop Cultural Summit on Saturday, October 18th, you will not want to miss it. It'll be at the Delaware Art Museum, and make sure to come out and experience the culture, join the conversation, and catch Daryl DMC live. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. This is Jaylen Ross signing out with DESU-TV.